We haven't been able to come to the Grammar Day before, but we've been aware of it. We've used some of the English resources before, and we know how much great work happens with the team. So when we realised that we had the opportunity, we thought that this was a really good way of providing an opportunity to our Year 12 students, but also showing our younger students like Matthew, who's in Year 10 and just a year away from doing his GCSEs, actually the sort of wider world of English language, because this stretches so much further than what their GCSE course does, and we think it's a really exciting way of interacting with academia.
My name's Jane Hannett. I'm an editor and proofreader. I've been to Grammar Days a few times before, and it's lovely to be back. It's a really interesting programme this year.
Been coming to Grammar Day for a few years now. I think I was introduced to it by Oliver Kahn, who used to write in the Times on a Saturday and had a weekly column in grammar, which I loved. He mentioned the Grammar Day, as I say, a few years ago now.
I think when they were talking about the use of grammar in the curriculum, like in schools, because I think it really is lacking in secondary school, especially because we're expected to use it in our exams, but we don't get any sort of lessons specifically on it and how to use it properly.
I'll be interested to hear the next speaker talking about the nicknames in sport and how sporting commentary and journalism influences grammar, how it's used there. For example, the famous quote is, "Was the boy done good?" as opposed to "the boy did well." It's how, and I've seen how that kind of grammar, which is something maybe spoken by players and coaches, "Well, the boy done this," and that, shall we say, not incorrect, but kind of colloquial use of grammar. That's actually influenced journalism as well, I think. I'd be interested to see how often that kind of error, if you like, the misuse of tenses, crops up in sports reporting.
I'm looking forward to the talk this afternoon on how women are talked about and portrayed in the context of violence against women. That should be a really good talk.
As a teacher, I've had to do a lot of work to sort of develop my knowledge of grammar. Being in those two talks was really interesting because actually we have been, all the talks sort of covered this idea of actually teachers don't get a huge amount of schooling in it, and even having done English literature and language as a degree, I had to go back and really brush that knowledge up before teaching at A-level. I really adore the subject. I find it really interesting just understanding just how sentences are put together and actually how we shift those for different contexts. And thinking about how impact is really linked to sort of the different audiences we're trying to approach.
Well, I'm here with a group of editors. We all belong to the Chartered Institute of Editing and Proofreading, and so we deal with grammar every day. We edit, we proofread other people's text to make it as readable as possible, and obviously as correct as possible as well.
How, especially native speakers, we all have this understanding of how grammar works, even if we don't know the specific terminology or we don't know what it's called. We all have this understanding, and I think that's really important for the education system to actually listen to that and to help us use it in our writing.
Unfortunately, I haven't properly studied grammar since primary school, yet when I did study grammar, I was very intrigued because up until that point, I barely knew how to construct a sentence, but I knew I loved to write, and through grammar, I was able to make stories that I found very entertaining, and I knew that my friends and family liked them as well. So it's a shame that we don't study grammar in high school, because I really think, especially the youth of today, really need to brush up on their knowledge.
I think people need perhaps to have more confidence in their grammar. they were talking there about children and their understanding of grammar. I mean, I think that they do have this intuitive knowledge, and that's to be guided. And it was interesting to see what their perception is.
Conversations that we've had though in the break have been absolutely wonderful. Students have been really reflective and thinking actually about how much they've really enjoyed it, and it has done exactly what we wanted it to do. Students are really thinking about why they are not maybe accessing grammar in the same way, and they are really enjoying it. I'm fairly confident that we will try and run a similar trip next year, because this has been
That's
really
great.